up? I'm Ayla.
Hi, I'm Beth Ann.
And this is Let's Talk BL, a Boys Love podcast.
Welcome back to the podcast. It's Sunday, Series Sunday, the day of the week where we talk all about one series and one series only, chock full of spoilers. So if you have not watched the series, I wouldn't be surprised. But also it's a central viewing.
Right. Well, I would, but I wouldn't, because I remember when I first got into BL. First of all, it's very confusing because this show has two names.
Yes.
And people refer to it pretty much half and half, like pretty much split down the middle.
Yep.
So that really confused me. But when I first got into BL, I remember everybody just had like seen this show and would like reference it and knew what it was. And I didn't watch it because one of the characters in the show, I was a hater in the beginning. I will admit,
a big hater. Where did that come from?
Because I hated him in Together.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And Together was a very formative experience for me.
Right.
I know it was like definitely less so for you, but for me, and I didn't realize it at the time, but like the deeper into BL I am now, it's been multiple years now.
Yeah.
The more I realized like how formative an experience Together was for me. Like, I don't consider it one of my top BLs, but it really does, like, it has colored the way that I like experience BL. Anyways, I hated him in Together, and I was a big hater. And then I had my awakening. And so I went back and I was
Tale of a Thousand Stars.
Be a Tale of a Thousand Stars. And I was like, I need to watch, if you haven't picked up on it yet, I'm talking about Drake.
Yes.
And I was like, I must go back and watch everything he's watched or everything he's done.
Yeah.
And so I watched this before you, which happens so rarely.
Yeah. We weren't living together yet. And yeah, I had gotten you into BLs like it was maybe 6 months.
Yeah, like 6 months. Yeah.
And then yeah, this is the first show I think that you were like, I started watching a show before you. And I was like, hold up, that is not okay.
It happens so rare. Even now, it happens so rarely.
I want to say you were like almost done with it, and you were like, you gotta watch this show. It's amazing.
Yeah, because even now to this day, I can count maybe 5 that I watched before you or that I've watched and you haven't watched. Like maybe 5, like in total. And so it happens so rarely. Yeah. Yes, I was definitely first on the 'Cause You're My Boy, I guess we'll say it finally, or My Tea. Oh God, what's the other name?
I didn't write it down.
My Teacher, something like that.
Let's see, I can pull
because
it up.
I've always called it 'Cause You're My Boy, but I will say international fans tend to split right down the middle and half say it one way, half say it the other way. I've noticed.
Oh my gosh, it has a Wikipedia page.
My Teacher, or something like that.
It is just My Tea.
My Tea. Okay.
Or My Chinese Boy, or A.T. Kong Pom.
Oh.
I guess My Chinese Boy because of they're Chinese and they're in Chinatown. Because Pooin calls him Hia.
Right.
Which we didn't pick up on, I guess, in those early days.
No. Well, I mean, I think it was before we really understood. Like, we knew what P meant, but I don't think we understood how it was applied all the time.
Oh my gosh, this is so funny. I'm like vaguely glancing over the Wikipedia page, and apparently this was one of 10 series for the 2018 showcase by GMMTV in their Series X event.
Oh, cute. So yes, we're talking 'Cause You're My Boy, aka My Tea, depending on which way you say it. Yeah. This is an old school, this is a throwback, but since season 1 we've been talking about doing a 'Cause You're My Boy series Sunday, and we never have. And so
because both of us had the same experience with this show where we watched it and we were like, oh my God.
Right. And like, it's cringy, but it's not, but it is. And it's like, and I had already watched Futs. Yeah. By the time I was watching 'Cause You're My Boy. And so I was shooketh at Pooh and Neo.
Yeah, and the Pooh and Neo.
Like, I knew it was coming because I had watched some of the GMMTV footage from the big fan meeting they did back when Pooh and Neo were shipped.
Yeah, I still haven't watched that.
Oh my God, it's actually so good. You guys should watch it. There's subtitles, and also it's a lot of off-drum porn. And so, like,
oh, cute.
And he's very funny. It also has some faces of folks that are no longer at GMMTV, which is kind of funny and interesting to watch. But anyways, so I knew it was coming, but it was just like, it was so weird to watch.
Yeah, I think it's almost nice, no matter where you get into BL, at what point in time you get into BL, especially with this new kind of wave of produced series, it's nice to go back to the beginning.
Yes, watch the roots. Although this wasn't the very first by any means, but it was 2018, which is very early on.
Yeah. Okay, let's get to the nuts and bolts, and then we'll kind of talk more about it. So it came on 2018. It is GMM TV, so it's on YouTube. But the other conversation was that it didn't come out on YouTube until like later.
Yeah, apparently it got released way later. It was on there obviously by the time we watched it.
Yeah.
But I do know one of our friends, BL Bobby, shout out Bobby, had mentioned to me, because we were talking about this show, because Bobby loves Drake and I love Drake. We both love the eyebrows.
Eyebrows and ears.
And yes, and the ears. Oh, the ears. Oh, you're right. Fascinating. Anyways.
That's what I used to call him.
Oh, yes, I did used to call him the one with the eyebrows and the ears. I refused to learn his name.
Yeah.
I refused to learn his name because I was so mad at him from together. Anyways. And Bobby was telling me the show didn't do super well internationally when it first came out, and that he thought that's why there was like some confusion about the name and like a lot of people hadn't seen it, is because initially apparently it actually wasn't available on YouTube. That was before my time, but that's what I've heard.
So it's 12 episodes. It also has an R Sky episode. It was wrote and directed by the same guy who did Lovesick, Make It Right, and most recently Physical Therapy.
So this makes a lot of sense to me because Cause You're My Boy and Make It Right have a lot of parallels.
Yes. Okay, it stars as Mork, Drake, T, played by Frank, Morn, Puin, Gord, Neo, Cowtongue, Ton, AJ.
Yes.
Of AJJJ.
Of AJJJ. Yes. This is a fascinating lineup. This was also a revelation for me because, again, I had already watched Fuds and I was already so endeared to Sweet Baby Puin because Puin was a baby. Puin's still a baby, but he was a baby in Fuds.
He was 15.
And he was even more of a baby in Cause You're My Boy.
Yeah, so what's crazy, so I looked this up. Drake and Frank were both 18. Puin was 15. Neo was 17. The fact that Neo looks exactly the same and feels exactly the same. Neo is
Except
unchanged.
Neo also, though, feels like he should be 45.
Right.
Like,
he's always felt 45. And so the fact that he was only 2 years older than Puin makes no sense.
Okay.
Make sense.
Synopsis time, and then we will get into the show.
Yes.
This is the story of Mork, a grade 11 mischievous boy who sells porn DVDs at his father's barber shop. When his father leaves a handsome boy T in the middle of a haircut, Mork attempts his first haircut, which ends in T having a terrible haircut and leaving extremely mad. Thus begins rounds of revenge between the two boys. One day, when T is with his girlfriend, Bambi, Mork hands gay porn DVDs to T. This leads Bambi and the rest of the school to believe that T is gay, and Bambi leaves T. Mork is then asked by T to take responsibility and asks him to be a make-believe boyfriend to make Bambi jealous and get back together with her. During the course of their make-believe relationship, however, they start to develop real feelings for each other.
Side note, Bambi is played by Noon, which is Fong. Star Hunter's sister.
Indeed.
Oh my gosh. I feel like the synopsis is pretty solid.
The synopsis is solid. There's a lot of detail there, but it
sets
is
you
solid.
up for like an idea of what is to come.
I mean, my favorite thing is it does tell you all of the tropes that are in this show.
Yeah.
So there's so many tropes in this show.
So many.
We have enemies to lovers.
Yes.
We have fake relationship.
Love it.
We have the take responsibility from, for your actions.
Absolutely.
Situation. Yes. We have this was truly like a precursor to Together, which is the whole, and now Hidden Agenda, which is the this is all in pursuit of a girl.
Yes, obviously.
Yes.
Another fun trope that is in this show is, or not a trope, I don't really know what you'd call it, the nosebleed. We never see the nosebleed anymore.
Yeah.
But if you go back in time, it's featured a lot in The Shipper, which I think is debated whether or not it's a BL. It's a fascinating watch. Highly recommended, just to be confused by the first Chimin of it all.
Yeah.
The nosebleed thing, which ends up turning into an actual medical condition.
Right.
Not just nerves.
I think this is like pre-ointment.
Yeah.
The nosebleed was the precursor to the ointment situation in modern BLs.
Right.
Yes. This show is very cute. I suppose where to start, where to begin.
I don't even know where to start. what I do love, I guess let's talk about a little bit of the nostalgia of it all. I love the fact that early days BL, I feel like we don't get that much anymore, where I feel like now we talk more about like marriage equality and gay in society. Whereas back in the day, in like, I'm thinking back to like the Make It Rights and like this, where it's like, there's a moment in the show where they're like, it's okay to be gay.
Right.
Basically, like, somebody has a conversation where they're like, love is love. It's okay. Yeah. And I love that moment of like, I feel like we don't really see it anymore, where it's like suddenly you're like, I have feelings for this person and maybe I struggle with it a little bit, but then I'm like, it's passed over and like, the romance like continues. It
is nice to watch kind of like the gay panic. Like I remember in high school, I had a friend who like went through it was like high school going into college, like went through like the gay panic. Like he wasn't gay. He for sure wasn't gay. And now he's very happily married to a man. Yeah. He's gay. And so like for me, it's interesting to see this experience that I saw happen in my real life with my real friend of like, there was this like moment that it was longer than a moment, but this phase of life that happened where, and you see it in the older BLs. I'm talking like pre-COVID, I guess, BLs of like
pre-together, post-together, it feels like.
You see it like right before together. You see it in like, for example, like Why Are You? This happens, but in a very like toxic way of, right? Yes. Like, and so like, but that definitely happens with Mork, more so than T, I would say, in the show, where he's like, this isn't because I have feelings for you. Like, it's not gay. Like, he's doing all the gay things, but he's like, it's not gay. And he's very much struggling with it, which I feel like is very real. And you mentioned earlier before we started recording that, like, this show is such a slice of life show. It's not the mafia. It's not, it's
not a romance. It's not dramatic.
There's not some bigger picture story to tell. There's not some like underlying like family rivalry. It's really just like a snapshot into these four boys' lives, right? Like,
I know there's so much that happens in this show, but like, it's just fun to watch. I will say the pacing in the show is excellent because you just go from one thing to another. Like, you go from the porn features heavily to the fake relationship,
and then the porn goes away entirely. I will say, like, that is the one thing. It like the stuff does completely drop.
Yeah.
The only thing that stays constant is Pooin's character and his pursuit of internet fame.
Yes, net idol. Which when we first got into BLs, I remember Yin comes to mind of Yin War, and that whole like I was fascinated by his story.
You know who has almost the exact same story is Baz.
Yeah.
From now Wabi Sabi, previously Star Hunter.
Where literally where Yin was like, I need to make money for my family and I will just sell products on the internet. And he was just a cute boy that like told people to buy things on the internet. And he was a net idol and then like got into acting.
Yeah. Baz has a similar story, not exactly the same. And so do like a lot of these boys, if you talk to them. Like, we have had the absolute privilege to like be stuck in places in Thailand where we're just like sitting there talking to some of these boys sometimes while we're waiting to film or do something else, right?
Yeah.
And like I heard a similar story from like another boy who was like, I just wanted to make money and I was gonna be like on Instagram, like on IG, like showing the products. And so
it's wild.
That storyline. Let's jump over to sweet Morn Pooin. This boy, this little baby, this child, and so he's deep in pursuit of this internet fame, but it's for money, but also he does want to be famous. And then like Neo has to save him from like internet predators. It gets very dramatic. Like like this boy's a child and he's like running off to like get in cars with people. Like,
we just recently talked about
internet safety, about
the whole buying the good old days of buying Instagram followers.
Oh, like, yeah.
The things that don't happen these days.
Yeah, like, you can't buy followers anymore. That's not a thing.
Depending on like how old you are, like you remember certain parts of the internet where like Yeah, a bunch of like I remember it was a big deal because Justin Bieber lost a ton of followers.
Right. When they started cracking down on buying followers.
Yeah, the Neo pooing of it all is so funny because like it turns out like Neo's wealthy.
Yes.
That moment where he's saving him from that like predator.
From the internet
and he's
predator.
like, yeah, this is my dad's car.
Yeah.
And I mean, the best part about watching the Neo pooing of it all is the fact that like they're just besties who have this underlying like I like you.
But
like,
it's only
Neo,
one-sided for the longest.
Neo likes him.
Yeah.
And then like they spend the last part of the series being like, I like you without actually saying I like you.
Right. I will say that frustrated the hell out of me because they were the sweetest little babies and I just wanted.
Did they get screen time in Our Sky? They did? A little bit, maybe?
I think a little bit. I honestly, it's been so long since I watched that episode. I don't remember.
We need to do like an overarching history of like GMMTV
storylines.
Yeah,
or
like
couple lines,
pairings, like not
like
really
a family tree of GMMTV. We kind of did that a while ago. If anybody wants to see an updated version of that episode, tell us.
Let us know.
Because things have gone incredibly wild even since that episode.
Because of course, with the whole coming out of the Only Friends trailer, I'm like, Neo and Cowtongue, wild, fascinating.
But yeah, I will say that was one thing that frustrated me about the show was the sweet babies never got their moment of like, I like you too. Like that's what I wanted. I didn't want, obviously, like they were babies in the show. I didn't want anything more, but I did want this. It was such a build up the whole season. I really wanted Neo's character to be like, I like you, and for Pooin's character to be like, I wanted the chobe.
I did like the classic GMMTV characters watching one of the shows.
Ah, yes.
We get a SOTUS watch where they like see Chris Singto kiss and then they look at each other like, I don't know, maybe we should kiss now.
Two friends in a room. They might kiss. That's the epitome of this show, actually. Because there's that moment in the bedroom, like I think it's the first time that T spends the night at Mork's house. Mm-hmm. And they like, he's climbing all over him. And it's like, it's definitely it goes from like friends to two friends in a room. Maybe they'll kiss like so fast. Yeah. And it's definitely, you see this moment of like, he's ready to maybe risk it all, but then he's not sure. And it's like, God, this show is the epitome of two friends in a room. They might kiss.
It's true. I think what I love the most is like, you can read each one of these characters like an open book. Like that's what's so fun about this a little bit is that like they are high school boys and they're playing high school boys and they actually are high school boys in real life. And so it's funny to watch like them, like it feels, as someone who's been out of high school for a hot minute, it's, you watch a show like this and you're transported back. Like you're like, oh yes, like I know how it feels to like overthink everything but also not overthink anything.
And it's also just so universal. Like I have had those moments where later on I've been like telling a story. In fact, I still tell some of these stories to this day. I'm like, you guys want to hear how stupid I was when I was a teenager? Right, where like they're in that situation and from the outside you're watching them, you're like, he likes you, he wants to kiss you, he likes you, kiss him. But like in the moment you're like, no, he, like that's not what's happening here. And it's just like, it is so nostalgic and it's so universal. Another moment that I loved that got real crazy that I was like, this is precisely the kind of drama that I'm here for in a show. Is when they kiss at the like Winter Wonderland theme park, the like skating rink situation.
Oh my gosh, yes. On the CCTV.
Yes, and the CCTV gets them. And then they freak out because it's going to be the end of their, oh my God, it's all this drama.
It's so dramatic. I mean, understandably so, because like Drake's going to get kicked out of school.
Right, because gay?
Because the mom doesn't want her son to be gay.
Right.
But it seems like T has been gay for a very long time and has been like okay with it. Like,
but T has the girlfriend.
Right. T's an interesting character because he's one of those characters, and we see it a lot lately, where it's like hella straight, suddenly gay, totally cool. In BD. No crisis.
Doesn't faze him.
The character that's like, you've been gay since birth. Like, you came out of the womb and you threw out your snap, is like, I don't know, guys. I shouldn't be this way. And so, like, because we have that moment, the, like, one of the many problematic moments where Drake's character, where Mork and T early on are besties, and they're like falling asleep in bed together, and then Drake. There's a lot of penis talk in this show.
I mean, they're number one, they're boys. Number two, they're high school boys.
Yes. Hold on, where he's like, do I want to touch his penis? I think I want to touch his penis. And then he like goes to touch his penis, and then T just like disappears. He's like, we can't. I don't want to. I can't handle this.
Yeah,
that scene was wild.
It was problematic, but it also was very true to boys.
True. Yeah,
like
very true to discovering your sexuality as a teenager.
I'm a grown ass person, and some of the grown men I hang out with talk about penises.
Yes.
All of them, actually. In fact, now that I think about it, I can't remember the last time I was in a group of people that involved more than one man where they didn't talk about penises. That hasn't happened to me. Literally, I think since, like, I was in a place where there was more than one man in one place. Truly, men love talking about penises. Men are obsessed with penises. Straight men, gay men, non-binary men, all men are obsessed with penises.
The show is obsessed with penises too.
And this show is so
they talk about boners like the first half of this series.
It's very real. No B. Slice of life. Listen, I dare you, honestly, imagine how much penis talk happens behind the walls of GMM TV. Like, imagine when they were practicing for like Love Out Loud, Lovevolution.
Oh my god, incredible.
Imagine. Listen, if you've made it this far in the series Sunday, I'm just gonna go ahead and spoil it. Watch out for our episode with Jung and Dunk coming soon.
Yeah.
Dunk talked about Love Out Loud, and he said...
Dunk did not talk about penises.
No. He talked about Love Out Loud, and he said, Love Out Loud, Lovevolution.
He was very trained.
It was very funny. Anyways, that's why I started laughing hysterically. Imagine how much penis talk happened behind those walls when they were like practicing. There were so many boys all in one place. I bet you, honestly, if there was CCTV footage, I bet you could go to the CCTV footage and you could time it.
There is CCTV footage, but GMMTV keeps that under lock and key.
Right. But GMMTV could time it, and I don't think you could go more than 60 seconds without somebody alluding to, talking about, saying the word penis. I'm just saying. Very slice of life.
So slice of life. They're just such boys.
Yeah.
But I think the most interesting thing about every boy in this series is that they're all kind of very... Oh gosh, how do I even put this? They're just all kind of matter of fact, right? Like the conversation that Mork and Ooh have about how like Ooh likes Mork and he's like, I like you, bro. It's really hard to like you, but I like you. And they have this conversation multiple times. And Mork is like, but we're besties. Like, I just want to be besties. Like, besties. And then potentially when Mork gets drunk and maybe hooks up with Ooh, Mork is like, but he's my bestie. And then he goes and tells T, which is my favorite part. He's like, I don't know what happened. I think we maybe did the thing, but I'm not really sure. Like, it's just, they're just so earnest.
They're so earnest. They're such, like, this show is so nostalgic and fun to watch. It is problematic, but
I also love, like, how much sex talk there is, but then the real of when they go to potentially have it, they're like so nervous about it, right? The whole condom conversation where he's like, he gets so mad because he bought a condom, and then they're like, why did you, they have the conversation, the communication. We lost communication in BLs like halfway through the like decade.
Well, because we stopped being besties. I think that's what happened is everyone in this show is like, two friends in a room, maybe they'll kiss. And so like when you start with two friends in a room, maybe they'll kiss. Like the two friends are probably going to talk about the kiss.
True. But then he's like, why were you so mad? And he was like, I don't know, you just seemed like you were really good at it and you were just chill that you wanted to bang. That reminds me, I'm not going to name names because this is highly inappropriate, but it reminds me of like two besties that are current BL actors that I just like. We've seen a lot of behind the scenes that it alludes to this. Like, I imagine these two boys are probably like, it's okay, bro. Like, if you haven't done the thing yet, I'll tell you later. But like, yeah, I think some of these BL actors who are actually friends behind the scenes, I think as it relates to their characters and as it relates to their scenes on screen, like we talk a lot about how many of these BL actors are definitely just like work colleagues, but for the ones that are actual friends, I think, yeah, they do have some of these conversations of like, it's okay, bro. Like, it's not that serious.
No, maybe.
Man,
talk about ships too, though. I will say Drake and Frank were an excellent ship back in the early days. They knew how to play it. They knew how to play the BL game.
What happened to Frank? Because he was such a good actor. Watching this show, I will say, like, maybe it's just because they were all young, basically playing themselves in some way. They were all just so natural, whereas, like, y'all, Love Syndrome was not it.
I didn't watch Love Syndrome, so I can't comment.
I mean, I saw clips. I mean, everyone saw clips.
I didn't.
No, you stayed off Twitter?
That wasn't on my feed. We're not following any Love Syndrome accounts. So.
No.
And I don't go on the For You. I stay on the following.
Yeah. I'm mainly on the For You. But yeah, DrakeFrank.
Listen, I'm glad that he's not just the one with the ears and the eyebrows anymore.
It's true. I do love one of my favorite interviews. And I want to say they were being interviewed by Piaf. And they were talking about Drake and Frank were talking about the workshops and preparing for this. And I think it was Frank that was like, Drake, if I actually fall in love with you, how would you feel?
Oh, yes. I do remember this. I do remember seeing these clips.
That's like talking to them about it?
I don't know, honestly. But I do remember, yes. No, I think it was Drake that said, Frank, if I fall in love with you. But I don't know. Yeah. If you know, comment and tell us which one it was.
The idea that, like, because we talk about all this all the time, is the idea that any of these boys have any conversation as it relates to, like, what they do.
Oh, I don't think these boys speak to each other.
Because we've seen it a little bit in Safe House, right? They had that whole deep conversation about acting and about, like, I don't know, whatever it was. So, like, I think it happens occasionally, but, like, I don't think they think about it that hard.
I don't think they think about it that hard.
And so, yeah, it is funny, the idea that, like, they were sitting in a workshop and one of them looked over at the other and was like,
don't let me fall in love with you.
Two friends.
Two friends in a room. Maybe they want to kiss. That is truly the theme of this. Like, the tagline for this series should have been two friends in a room. Maybe they might kiss.
So
truly
good. Okay, the show takes a turn in that it gets really serious about, like, first of all, we have running in this show. He's running after his man.
Yes, which I do love that one.
We've talked about this before. The Thai don't do this enough. The Koreans do it so well.
Yes.
They run after their man so
in the
often.
dark, and typically, like, either to or from or inside a park.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, how else would you... Can you imagine if you were running in a city and you had to stop at every crosswalk?
I mean, that would be very dangerous in Bangkok. You actually legitimately couldn't do that in Bangkok. You would die.
You could have somebody running across, like, the BTS.
Oh my God,
throughway.
you could be running through the mall.
Oh my God, that would be exceptional.
Oh my God, MBK. Somebody needs to film an MBK where they're, like, running through, and, like, oh my God, imagine if you had to chase someone through Central World. You'd never find them again. You would get lost. You live in Central World now. I'm sorry.
You know what I want to see? I want to see somebody running from MBK to Central World.
Oh yeah, because you can get from one to the other.
There's a billion ways to get.
Yes.
You'd have to go up and down and all around. Maybe go it through Siam Discovery.
Through Siam. Yeah.
That'd be so fascinating.
Yeah.
Go get your man.
But if you're trying to chase your man through Central World, I'm so sorry. I don't know what to tell you. You live in Central World now. Not only is he lost, but you're lost too. This is your home now. Deal with it.
There are signs, but they make no sense.
They make no sense. Even we got escorted through Central World by two different Thai people that live in Thailand.
Yeah, it's still.
And both were like, yeah, I don't really know where I'm going.
Exceptional. But he, like, runs to his man, and then they both get hit by a car. Yes. And then suddenly Drake has a chronic illness. And Frank never goes to America?
It's just such a good trope of like, and now he's terminally ill and dying. The only thing that could have made this more tropey is if somebody had gotten kidnapped. Or if somebody had like a childhood trauma kidnap.
Was there
like
no
where someone was
trauma?
kidnapped as a child.
I mean, I guess the loss of a parent is a little bit of childhood
right,
trauma.
but no, I'm talking about like kidnapped as a child.
Oh, yeah. I also made a note. I think this show was the origin of the Post-it game. Because Frank pulls the Post-its off of him.
Potentially.
I love... This is the first time... Is there another show where they incorporate one of those, like, ship games in the show? Like, do they ever play the Pocky game in a show?
Surely.
I mean... Not that
yes, they do. As a part of, they play lots of ship games and shows as a part of the like. Typically, it's when they're
together.
Playing, yeah, that's the one I thought of. They played it together,
yes.
But typically there's another show. Oh my God, which show is this? And I can picture the scene.
Is it Sodas?
No, it's Gunn is crying in the shower with the water bottle. Oh
Theory
my
of
God,
Love.
Theory of Love. It's Theory of Love. Where it's typically the ship games happen during
like hazing.
Yeah, like hazing.
What is that called?
They also play it in Together With Me. Max and Tool play the like where they have to like do the ball between or the balloon or whatever between them. Or no, it's an orange in their case, I think. But anyways, yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. They do. There are a lot of ship games that happen, and usually it's during hazing.
Nice.
Yeah.
The parents.
Yeah.
The mom is the worst.
She's the worst.
Probably ranks up there. I mean, I do love the revelation that T's dad is gay.
Yeah,
she's like, I saw you with that man. And T is like laying in bed right there. And he's like, what is wrong with you guys? This is why I ran away. Pretty funny. She's like, you made our son this way because you're making out with some dude. I love how there's always, not always, but like occasionally you'll get the like, dad had a gay phase in college.
Right. I mean, we see it in Lovely Rider.
Yeah.
It existed in Lovely Rider. It wasn't a gay phase in college, but we saw it come back around in Moonlight Chicken where, right, with like he like
you can't be poor and gay.
You can't be poor and gay, and like where he's like, are you sure I didn't accidentally make you gay?
That is pretty amazing.
And he's like, no, I was just born this way. What's wrong with you?
Oh my gosh, exceptional.
I mean, what's like, it is kind of sad to realize that like there are some people that genuinely think you can be made gay.
Well,
but like,
and like even the gays are like, yeah, I could have made you gay, and you're like, no, stop drinking the crazy Kool-Aid.
Well, and even the Moonlight Chicken babies save that, where like fully the way he looks at him in that scene, he just like.
Like, you're an idiot.
He's like, no, that's not how it works.
Honestly, this is a show I could talk about forever because there's so many bits and pieces that are just fun and interesting.
Yes, I love the karaoke on the sidewalk.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite just like fun moments in the show.
Also, Sizey. We could have had a fun GL moment between Sizey and Noon. That would have been cute.
Yeah. Also, we get to see a sport that isn't always portrayed with the like. I guess, is it color guard? Like, you know, the drum major.
Yeah.
He's a drum major.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know if those are cheerleaders. If that's
I don't know if
like,
he's. Are they considered cheerleaders?
I think he might be the drum major.
But it's a drum major. I think he's a drum.
What
major.
is it? It's what Tay Tawan was.
I think, but Taetuan was also a cheerleader. Was
Right.
he both?
He was a cheerleader, but he was also the lead cheerleader.
Which do they call it a drum major?
Because Mix was that too.
Do they call it a drum major? There was
don't even
someone
know how
else that was that I found recently for a Lost in Translation. And I even confirmed with Mimi. I was like, do you call this a drum major? And she said yes. Hold on. I will find it.
I know. I feel like... Because like Taetuan and Mix, they're all the like lead guys.
Okay, here we go. Wait, I said, Mimi, I have a question, which is the story of all my messages with Mimi.
I love it.
Who was this? Or I said, you call this a drum major, right? And she was like, yes, we do. There's not another. Who was this? Was it? Oh, it was Book of Force Book fame.
Yes. Was he the lead?
Yes.
The drum
and
major.
It is in fact titled a drum major.
Amazing. Yes. Yeah, because the drum majors in the States also use that stick.
Right.
It has a name.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't a drum major,
no.
so I don't know what the name was.
But like they don't conduct a marching band.
Correct. That's what's confusing about it. Because the drum majors here, they're like a part of the band. They're not a part of the cheerleaders.
Right. It's also fascinating.
Anyways,
it's very cute. This show is very Thai, and I think that's what when you get into Thai series early on, especially the early Thai series, they're so heavily Thai, right? Like you have the Buddhist stuff in this, you have the making merit, you have the like university stuch, you have
and the take responsibility for your action stuff is very Thai.
Very Thai. You have so much Thai stuff, and it's set in Yaowarat, which is Chinatown. And so yeah, this is a great cultural lesson. Like go study up on like the things that you see in the show that you're like, what is this?
Such a good show, such a good really time machine watch. If you are right now, nothing new has really ended, right? So we're going to be throwing in some of these older shows for Series Sundays when there's not like something new that's just ended.
It's a fun binge.
But this is a good fun binge for when you're in between shows. You just want to like, because right now there's pretty much a show for every day of the week for the most part. But
also Sweet Cow Tongue always being that like side character that's like, I like you.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Now the bride.
He's
had his moment.
He's going to get him some. Yes. I mean, Tanhan, I don't think was the moment.
He had his moment. He got the thing.
I do love that we had Neo Cow Tongue in Tanhan. I really need to rewatch Tanhan because like I didn't remember that it was Neo. I remember that there was a boy going after
Cow I remember his Neo because that was one of my favorite characters in the whole show.
Yeah. I mean, Neo. I can't wait to see Ho Neo.
Yes, Ho Neo.
Coming soon.
Only Friends coming soon. 10 more days, y'all.
Oh my gosh, countdown.
10 days, countdown, 10 days till Only Friends.
So excited.
And with that, I think that's where we leave you.
Yes.
This has been Let's Talk BL. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow all things Let's Talk BL at Let's Talk BL.